Chief Financial Officer Gilbert Reyna provided an overview of the city's debt capacity. The city is proposing to issue certificate of obligation bonds up to $59 million for capital improvement projects, including the new public safety headquarters and street projects. The city has been making strides to pay off its debts early, sort of like paying off a mortgage early, and we have some additional debt capacity coming up over the next few years. Because of this, the city will be able to issue bonds without increasing taxes, and overall debt service payments are expected to trend downward after the bonds are issued. The projections that were presented to council are based on conservative market estimates, which means we'll likely have even more flexibility than what was presented here. City engineer David Sheblak provided an update on street projects. The city has been increasing its investment in streets in recent years as part of our goal of repairing 50% more miles of streets compared to the last 5-year period, for a total of 112 miles of streets between fiscal years 2022 and 2026. Phase 3 of Crestwood Drive is moving along, with utilities 90% complete. The Derry Road reconstruction project is expected to finish later this month, and utility work is underway in the Tanglewood and College Park neighborhoods. Once the utilities are installed, the street reconstruction can begin. Council also approved a change to the scope of the Pleasant Green Drive project. Initially, the goal was just to repave Pleasant Green Drive between Calais and Laurent, but recent construction on US 59 caused traffic to be diverted onto the section of Pleasant Green between Wan Lin and Port Lavaca Highway, which caused this section of the street to deteriorate. Council approved postponing 2 other projects that are less urgent so that we can repair the damaged section of Pleasant Green Drive. The delayed projects will still be completed within the 5-year window. Council also heard about proposed plans for fixing North Street and Guy Grant. The proposed North Street reconstruction would extend from the 5 Points intersection to Ben Wilson Street. Due to the cost of this project, Civil Corps is proposing to break it up into 4 phases spanning multiple years. This will allow us to focus on the highest priority areas first while still having some funding left over for other projects. Council will hear some more specific recommendations for the North Street project at their next quarterly workshop. Council also heard some different options for reconstructing Guy Grant, which included the possibility of adding sidewalks. This project would likely be broken up into 2 phases, a utility phase and a street and sidewalk phase. Keep in mind that both of these projects are in the very early planning stages, and we're looking at starting them sometime between fiscal years 2027 and 2029. Development Services Director Julie Fulgham provided an update on the Unified Development Ordinance. The City Council gave preliminary approval to the ordinance at their last regular meeting, but requested clarification on some of the proposed updates. Chance Sparks with Fries and Nichols discussed the ordinance's separation and adjacency standards, which regulate how far certain businesses have to be from residences or from other businesses of the same type. The city has these standards in place for some types of businesses already. The ordinance would clarify the existing regulations and create some new ones. Council discussed the possibility of changing the regulated businesses from the list that was presented by the consultant, potentially removing some of them or changing the standards that would be applied. Council will continue to discuss this issue and other features of the ordinance at future meetings, including parkland dedication requirements and potential regulations for billboards and kennels. This ordinance will be a big step forward in streamlining our development standards, so we want to make sure we take the time to get it right. Finally, Chief Financial Officer Gilbert Reyna provided an update on the stormwater and utility rate study. In 2021, City Council adopted an updated storm drainage master plan that identified areas for improvement throughout the city. The city is proposing to add a stormwater and drainage utility fee to help fund these projects. Matthew Garrett with New Gen Strategies and Solutions provided examples of how these rates have been implemented in other cities. Options could include applying a rate per residential unit, per meter, or per account. The city would also have the ability to exempt certain properties on top of the mandatory exemptions required by the state. Council and city staff will continue to discuss the best way to implement the proposed fee, which would create a dedicated funding source for these much-needed improvements.